Good morning, Vietnam. Hey, everybody, this is Bryan Farnsworth, your co-host of the Breakaway Podcast. Wow, what a weekend we had. This is the official Super Bowl recap show. But wait, what the heck? Why is it only me sitting behind the desk? Where's my co-host, John? That guy, as he will be telling you, was in New York City, the Big Apple, last night. Welcome to the show, Jon Root.
Wow, Bryan, I wish I was there with you. I miss you guys this morning. To everybody in the production team, I miss you guys. But yeah, I'd say it's a little bit colder out here than what you're dealing with in Phoenix. But heck of a time. What a game. Let's chat about it.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the first word that comes to my mind is pain. As we all remember, I was big on the Bengals. But, I mean, Rams took care of business. I mean, they did what they had to do to win that game. They very much were who we thought they were going to be. I mean, it was one of those games where you just you've changed in your mind who you thought was going to win maybe 4 or 5 times as different moments of the game, different, either the Bengals or the Rams had the momentum. But at the very least, once again, we are just gifted a memorable Super Bowl. I'm gonna remember this one for a long time.
Yeah, this was great. And also, too, before I give you a little bit of a reaction to that, for people that want to understand why I'm not there, I went out to Harrison Butker's Super Bowl party. Him and his clothing company that he partners with through a little partay.
That's
so
awesome.
I was like, all right, I'm going to New York. I'll see you guys there. It's amazing. Actually, I'm not in NYC. I'm in Saratoga Springs. So pretty bougie area, a place they actually have the Preakness. So incredible spot, but I completely agree. There was probably over 100 people here, TVs all over the place, and everybody could not get enough of this football game.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew it was going to happen, though. I feel like that's what people have to enjoy about this podcast. We told them what was going to go down. We told them that the Bengals O-line was going to be wide open like the southern border. Joe Burrow's going to get sacked, and they're going to have to try to find a way to win. And, man, I'll tell you what, though, those two quarterbacks, both Burrow and Stafford, got rolled up on a couple times.
Yeah.
We're just, oh, man, are they going to be okay? What's going down? And those are two tough dudes. And how about Joey B showing up in that fit, that couple shades of gray tiger?
I gotta say, I wasn't a fan of the fit. I thought it was. I looked at it. I was like, "That's a bad suit." I'll say it. I love that man's style, but no. But yeah, the tiger stripes. That was a nice little touch. But did you see Matthew Stafford's fit?
Oh yeah,
just rolling up in just a black T-shirt, and it was like
that's what.
Just so minor. So just I'm just here to play football.
That's what you got to love, because you know that he knows Joe's going to show up looking swaggy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, all right, I'm going to do the complete opposite. But man, those two quarterbacks, pretty impressive game. It was just fun in general. It was a lot better than the last time the Rams were in the Super Bowl. Sean McVay looked like he actually knew what he was doing and was able to adapt. It was fun. That was a lot of ups and downs.
The interesting part, though, about the Rams offense was, I mean, obviously Rams could not run the ball on the Bengals. They had 48 total yards rushing. Bengals shut down their running attack. And then early on in the game, OBJ looked like the Rams were going to score 42 points. But as soon as OBJ was out, the Rams offense fell apart. Until that final drive, they were kind of just a shell of themselves. And it really did get me thinking of like you said, McVay, much better job, obviously scored a lot more points than he did last Super Bowl. But the offense with the injuries, I feel like a team that could have protected their quarterback better would have beaten the Rams. They got really lucky there that the Bengals had such a bad O-line.
OBJ, though. OBJ, who's the guy that said, what's the biggest lock? OBJ, anytime TD scorer. I told people I'd put it on the Super Bowl special. I put it on my IG story. And you know what? I was like, I feel so good. He's going to be the first touchdown scorer.
Oh yeah.
I put that down. Also, I was running around the Saratoga National Golf Course lobby like I just won $1 million or something. Everybody's watching me freak out. I was so stoked. I told everybody, I was like, watch, he's gonna score. And it was a perfect start.
Oh, it was right off the
And
bat for you.
yeah, it was right off the bat. I had him as anytime touchdown scorer. I had him as the first touchdown scorer. And it was something we talked about in the Super Bowl special too. For anybody that may have missed that, or if you listened to it or watched it, that was a blast. I know I got a lot of good responses for that. I appreciate all the support there. But said the Rams would start out hot. It's what they do. And
Hmm.
also the Bengals, they start a little slow themselves. For some reason, that's what they've done. They've been the underdog. This was the third game in a row. They were the underdog. And they just try to find their way back. But we knew that they were going to have to try to find a way to get over a bunch of sacks. He got sacked 7 times. And then it was like an NFL record. Joe Burrow got sacked, 16, 19 times this postseason.
Something like that. I know all together, regular season and postseason combined, he was sacked 70 times this year. That is, I mean, coming off of he was sacked a lot, even in the like half season he played last year. This is, I mean, the Rams have a lot to fix, which I know we're going to jump into in a moment, like the what's next for both of these teams, because this Super Bowl has now that the season is over, there's going to be a lot of questions moving forward. But I mean, we know why the Rams won. Let's kind of get into, John. I want to ask you, why did the Bengals lose? What was the problem? What were the mistakes they made?
Well, they lost because of obviously the offensive line. We can talk about that until we're blue in the face. But I think the Bengals coaching staff kind of showed that they were not as high quality as the Rams coaching staff. You could tell this was their first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You could tell that these guys were desperately trying to figure out, what's the next move? How do we get the ball to Jamar Chase? How do we kind of get Joe Mixon going a little bit? What are we going to try to do to put band-aids on this offensive line? Try to do some quick hitters. But I think a lot of it was just, it came down to O-line. It came down to coaching. But still, they stuck in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They came right off the bat, second half. Obviously, we're going to talk about the refs quite a bit. I don't freak out on this officiating as much as a lot of people were on Twitter yesterday. But if we freak out about something, like that was a blatant offensive pass interference. T. Higgins just grabbed Jalen Ramsey's face mask and just threw him down, and then that 75-yard tutty. But I mean, there were some big plays too. Like there were some deep balls, and I think we might have been talking about that with Charlie. I was actually kind of surprised they had some deep shots. They had one to Jamar Chase that was great. That got them within the 20, and obviously T. Higgins taking that 75-yarder to the house. I mean, but I think it came down to coaching. That's it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I actually, no, I'll get to the refs in a second. Yeah, though, it really, like you said, the coaching was a problem, and specifically in that second half, the Bengals came just screaming out of halftime. Obviously, they got that 75-yarder to T. Higgins, touchdown, penalty, whatever. And then they intercepted Matthew Stafford. And that's another thing you and I talked about, and I think with Charlie a little bit in the pregame show, was we expected Matthew Stafford to make mistakes. Like, we all know who Matthew Stafford is at this point. Really good quarterback, good in the clutch, tough, lays it all out on the line, but he plays aggressively, and so he makes mistakes.
Hey, if Matt Stafford decided that he was going to retire today, put him in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know. That
put him in.
I'm seeing people say that.
Put him in.
I mean, the man's never won an MVP award in his life. Has one Super Bowl. I don't know. I can't in good conscience put him in. I want to see another postseason appearance where he actually goes out there and does some stuff. Because this was a really good team. I mean, the Rams went all in.
That was the thing we talked about too. Yeah, they went all in this season. And then also too, like Matt Stafford's a beast. We've known that for a long time, and then finally he's put on a good team, and he wins a Super Bowl in his first year. And you know what's crazy about that is we literally just watched two teams, 2 seasons in a row, win on their home field, win the Super Bowl with brand new quarterbacks. Obviously, Tom Brady last year joined the Bucs, just went right in, won. Matt Stafford goes right in and wins. It feels like that's where people are trying to say, "Oh, the NFL is rigged. They're putting all this stuff together. They want LA. They want LA to win. They just wanted Tom Brady to win." No, this is great stuff, people. Like this is you watch football like you watch this season's playoffs. This had to be top 3 all time. Maybe like that divisional round, we're never going to see anything like that again. We had a great AFC and NFC championship game. Like the way the Bengals came back just to get to the Super Bowl, only to rip out the hearts of the people of Cincinnati. Harambe died. They've been dealing with that for a long time. They say they're going to play for him, and they can't get it done. But they went all in. Matt Stafford rolls in. OBJ, I'm so happy for him. Did you see him hugging Von Miller after the game?
Oh, he was ugly crying. I mean, he was thrilled. And that's where obviously I was going for the Bengals, but there's a lot of players on the Rams that I really do like. I think Aaron Donald is just to me, Aaron Donald Hall of Famer already. Cooper Kupp is well on his way to a Hall of Fame career. Matthew Stafford, I'm not ready to put him in Canton yet, but I agree with you. He's on his way. Go on.
Cooper Kupp. He won the receiving triple crown. Obviously was the offensive player of the year in the NFL. And led, I don't know why I did not put money on Cooper Kupp leading all receivers in receiving yards. I ended up going with Devontae Adams because I thought the Rams were going to keep rolling, or I thought the Packers were going to keep rolling. But this is the first time someone's done that triple crown, offensive player of the year and Super Bowl champ and MVP since Jerry Rice.
There's a honest,
incredible.
Like you really could have the conversation, which is just crazy because nobody really saw it coming. Was this the greatest wide receiver season in the history of the NFL?
I would think so. What he was able to do. I mean, it's tough because you're literally just going from the GOAT, the greatest receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, absolute beast, Hall of Famer, to Cooper Kupp. I mean, the guy, you know what star recruit he was when he went to Eastern Washington?
Zilch.
0.
Yep.
0 star. Like, what another great story. I don't know if you're going to find a better season than what Cooper Kupp just put together. Like, that was incredible. And then everyone just trying to like crap on Eli Apple too. It's like, dude, you're going against like an absolute alien in Cooper Kupp. And I know he was getting a lot of shade from, I know McCole Hardman Jr. from the Chiefs was chiming in on Twitter. I know Tyreek Hill had a few things to say about Eli Apple, but man, that's a tough matchup. And even when you got a safety like over the top, trying to worry about Cooper Kupp, and then obviously it helped out when OBJ got hurt for him, but like you can't stop Cooper Kupp. You can only just hope to contain him. And what he put together was amazing. And he's talk about a good role model too. That is a guy that kids playing football right now should emulate. The way he talks about his wife, the way he talks about his faith, the way he just plays ball. You got to love Cooper Kupp.
Oh yeah, I mean he's all heart, all effort. You know, he's proof that it doesn't matter how many star recruit you are, you can work your way there. Don't let the dream die. You can get there. Now, I agree with you. I don't necessarily agree with Twitter of just roasting Eli Apple over and over again. Yes, did he get burnt a decent amount? But until that last drive, Cooper Kupp was held in check. I mean, he had 3 or 4 receptions on that last drive of his 8 total, 92 yards. So he hit the under on what Vegas was expecting of him. And then the two touchdowns was fantastic. I mean, that's why he won Super Bowl MVP. But without that last drive where he and Matthew Stafford just got locked in together, the Bengals did a really good job containing the offensive player of the year.
And then talk about that second touchdown too. Like what a crazy time
Mm-hmm.
that was. Just penalty after penalty. And but look at the way they had to guard him too. There was a good amount of penalties that Cooper Kupp drew. He
Yeah.
might not have gotten those catches, but he's kind of like a guy in basketball where he was able to draw a lot of fouls.
Yeah.
And
Get to
he
the
was able
line.
to like get that foul count up, like get some guys to the line, get some one on ones. Like he affected the game in incredible ways. And I think it opened up um, some of those holes. It was interesting at times because obviously like Higbee, like not in there, and you had Blanton that
Got hurt
when
early.
Higbee got yeah, so he was gone. Like there was a lot of those factors that were interesting because
Yeah.
that's what happens in these big games. Like, what are you going to do? That's a part of coaching too, that you
Mm-hmm.
got to be able to adjust. And I think that's something again that the Bengals didn't know what to do. And the Rams, next man up.
Yep.
Who's it going to be?
Yeah,
It
exactly. A
was
lot of
great.
those guys had been there before. They've been to the
Yep.
postseason. That's where we were kind of waiting all year and then all off season for, okay, these are young guys. This is a young team. They don't know what they don't know. And that's kind of why I feel like a lot of the fans around the league really rallied behind them. But ultimately, the stage ended up being a little too big for them. They ended up making a lot of mistakes. Tyler Boyd had that drop ball on their, second to last drive on 3rd and 9, that if he converts that, because Burrow put it right in his hands, he just turned his head too early. If he converts that, they most likely get a first down, and they could keep running the clock, and maybe they have a Super Bowl ring on their finger right now. Samaje Perine not able to, on a 3rd and 2, but no, that last drive, it starts out with that sideline throw to Jamar Chase. He takes it up. He actually probably runs out of bounds 5 yards before he needs to, but that was kind of fine, whatever. But then
Probably
remember,
one of those, just like I got to get out of bounds, try to
yeah,
stop the clock. Like
rather than
I'm not going to
rather
try
than
to
getting
do
tackled
anything.
in.
Yeah.
But no, then on the next, it's 1st and 10. They throw a 9-yard pass to Tyler Boyd. He catches that one. So now it's like,
Mhm.
2nd and 2, 2nd and 1 ish. They have a miscommunication, so they burn a play. Burrow thought Jamar was going to go deep, and obviously he didn't. So it's just sails over. So now, okay, you just burned a very important play. The next play, they run it with Pirine, and he can't convert on 3rd and 2. Holy crap! And then, of course, the 4th and 1. What's wild, though, I saw this. Somebody put this on Twitter. Instagram, actually, I think is where I saw it. On that 4th and 1, that obviously Aaron Donald put the team on his back, got to Burrow, forced that incompletion. Jamar Chase was in the process of burning Jalen Ramsey. In fact, he had Jalen Ramsey falling down. If Burrow could have stepped and avoided that pressure, he had a wide open Jamar Chase that could have had a game winning touchdown, a walk off touchdown. Those two guys are gonna. They're the pain. I cannot imagine what they're going through right now. This is the type of stuff that's going to drive them nuts over the next 6-7 months.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens too. Is it? That's what's fun about a Super Bowl like this. It felt like every single play just meant the world.
Yeah.
Every single one here. That's because we've had some Super Bowls in the past, and even like last year's Super Bowl didn't feel like that at times. Like it felt like there was a little bit of a lull period. Feels like every single play had an emphasis on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is going to be big. Who's going to potentially get burnt? Um, how many times is Joe Burrow going to get sacked? What is he going to do? And moments like that, that's where Von Miller has been so essential for that Rams defense.
Oh yeah.
You can just tell how much those guys love and respect him. I mean, that's a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. That when it came down to it, Rams defense need to win them a game.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, if it's Bengals offense versus Rams defense, who's going to win you the game? 9 times out of 10, I'm taking Rams defense, and that's what was able to get done. Aaron Donald, I was not able to cash in on my
I made that
sacks
one
plus
too.
assist bet.
Yep.
Man, but I think he was one of those guys too, where Aaron Donald probably at halftime, we're probably going to see some more news that comes out where he was like, "I came too far and done too much to lose this game. I'm gonna do my thing." And what a great way to cap it off. It's like one of the best defensive players we might ever see secures the dub for LA in LA while celebrities are going nuts while they're maskless. It's great.
Well, so speaking of Aaron Donald, have you seen all the reports that he's going to contemplate retirement?
Yeah, because I know they were asking him that. I forget who the ESPN
Rossini?
sideline reporter was. Yeah,
Diana.
Diana Rossini.
Yeah.
Diana.
Love her.
She was great. Yeah, she always does a great job. And, it's a question she's got to ask. And I think, obviously, Aaron Donald gave the answer that you'd always expect. I'm just kind of living in the moment right now. It's like, of course. It's like, well, Diana, I just won my first Super Bowl, so I'm going to live in the moment here. Then I'm going to go to Disneyland. Then we can talk.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm interested. At this point, I was shocked about Tom Brady retiring. I thought he had about 45 more years in him. And, I think who knows? Like Aaron Donald, it could either be one of those where I've been working my whole career to get to this point and I feel accomplished.
Yeah.
So let's just go out on a high note, or it's just going to continue to inspire him. And because I'm going to look up right now. I think Adam Schefter talked about some Rams free agents after this game. So you have OBJ,
Yep.
Von Miller, Darius Williams, Sony Michel, and then you got Deontay Deacon, Matt Gay, the kicker, and a few other people. I mean, they got a great chance. I mean, if OBJ keeps taking his salary in Bitcoin, LA can keep signing people. But, dude, I don't even know what he's going to do. Do you think Aaron Donald's going to call it quits? Because for me, I can't see him calling it quits with a couple of these guys that they want to sign again and keep it going.
Now, I can't see him retiring right now because, look, Tom Brady was 44. Aaron Donald's 30. So he is up older for an NFL player, but he still clearly has so much left in the tank. And that dude makes like $25 million a year. I mean, he's one of the highest paid players. There's a lot of people who consider Aaron Donald the best player in the NFL. Now, if he were to retire, walk out on top, hey, all power to him. Respect your champion. Like I said, Hall of Famer. But no, I think he'll want to try and defend the title. Be like, hey, we won this and we think we can keep it rolling. But when it comes to the free agents, they're right now, according to overthecap.com, they're projected to be already $13.5 million over the cap currently. They have to do some restructurings. And now, look, the cap is all a fugazi. It's all monopoly money anyways. But they're going to have to do some restructurings that if OBJ wants to get paid $20 million a year, he's going to have to do that somewhere else. That money is not going to be in with the Rams. Von Miller, a lot of people still expect he can get paid easily $15 million a year. Once again, probably can't get that from the Rams. A couple of these really star high performers, that's the problem with going all in and trading your cheap draft picks for established players is you got to pay the piper eventually. And that's why if they didn't win this Super Bowl, they were screwed, like done. So luckily it paid out, but I don't know. Come free agency, I think we're going to have to see the stars walk, personally.
Who do you think is going to be gone?
I think OBJ for sure. I think he would like to be there in LA. I just don't know if I could see it happening. Maybe they end up cutting a couple people. Maybe Andrew Whitworth retires. So, that dude's 40.
He's got to retire.
That dude looked like a grandpa out there. But so there are a couple guys. Go ahead.
We were talking about with Whitworth. I think we were talking about that in the Super Bowl special. How he's one of those guys. Everyone's like, man, father time here. I can't believe he's been in the NFL for that long. He's an offensive tackle, and Brady's older than him.
4 years older.
Brady, yeah, he's 4 years older, and we look at Brady and it's like, wow, he looks like a young man.
Yeah,
and it's like that just goes to show that someone like Whitworth who's been in the trenches for years and years, like you do not see offensive linemen or defensive linemen, anybody, linebackers play that long. It's impressive, but it's funny. Everybody looks at Whitworth like, gosh, what an old man. And then Brady's like this young whippersnapper.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's that old. Yeah.
But it's crazy. Whitworth's beard is so white. Like, there is no color left in that thing practically. But, I mean, look, the guy's 40. He's had an incredible career, still playing at a fairly high level. But I feel like he is somebody who could walk out on top. I mean, just, really just the sunset is on his career. Just go out a complete champion. So maybe, somebody like that retires and frees up a little bit of money, restructure. But also, they have to hand an extension to Matthew Stafford, which is probably going to be very big. Now, granted, it wouldn't take... But with that extension, you could actually restructure a lot of the contract to where Matthew Stafford's contract for next season could be almost nothing, opening up about $12 million maybe. And maybe with that money, that's how you pay OBJ to stay. But no, I think Von Miller will play somewhere else next season, and I believe OBJ will also be playing somewhere next season. That's just
also
how
too. We got to bring up Eric Weddle too. Like, the Rams were just fun. Like, obviously they got a salary cap situation they're trying to figure out. Obviously right now they're just like, we won the Super Bowl, we won it in our home stadium, did it for LA, and it was great. But so many incredible stories on that team. Like, there's so many people are just like, oh, I just always root against LA. Like, it's so funny. Like, hey, Lakers, if you want to sign some big time people and put together a good squad, maybe take notes from the LA Rams. Don't just get some washed up Russell Westbrook that's going to hawk up 455 shots a game, but somehow still get a triple double. This team is fun to root for compared to the other main LA team. OBJ, I feel like that's the kind of guy that's like, he was the rookie of the year and did some incredible stuff with the Giants, and then went over to the Browns. We all thought that, the Browns were going to be a team that was going to compete. Baker Mayfield, is he going to be the guy? We found out pretty quick OBJ wasn't happy. He was happy there. It wasn't happening. And then he joins the squad. And honestly, if he hadn't gotten hurt, he could have had a chance to win Super Bowl MVP. Like, he was put, like, he got that touchdown right away. Obviously, just finished the game with a couple catches, but averaging 26 yards a catch off those with a tutty. It's exciting. And Eric Weddle, him retiring after the game, was just kind of like, this was a fun 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Out of here. Thanks for the memories. That guy needs to get signed by some sort of beard oil company. Like, him and Whitworth.
Oh, he'd clean up.
Need to get together. It'd be incredible.
Or sign up with Troy Polamalu. They could do some sort of Head and Shoulders thing together.
Dude, what do you think your favorite moment of the game was? Like, I know we should talk about commercials a little bit too, but
all things considered, it was the 75-yard T. Higgins. It was the very first play of the second half. Just what an exclamation point to come out. Because also, look, like I said, I went and rewatched that video. I definitely think it was an offensive pass interference, but he didn't. No. He doesn't grab the face mask. His fingers never close on it. So that's why, like I said, I think more what a lot of people aren't really. You referenced it. He probably with his other hand pushed him in the back more. Everyone's talking about the face mask. The fingers. You can go rewatch the video. The fingers do not close around the face mask. It almost looks like he more kind of has it on the outside and does move it, but he didn't grip. But like you said, what a lot of people didn't notice was the other hand.
Watching this.
Rewatch it. I wish I had it prepped so I could tell the boys to pull it up.
It's one of those where it's not like a full-on grab, but it's like enough to where you have just enough grip on it to where he's fully turning his helmet the other way. So it probably would have been one of those, maybe like in another situation, like you have a 15-yard face mask and a 5-yard face mask. This still like.
Oh, like I said,
turns his head.
Probably still a missed call. That's That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not as blatant as a lot of people are making it out to be. Because did you know the ref actually came out after the game and said no, he did not. Because part of the rule, that's why the face mask problem is you are allowed to touch people's face masks in those situations. You're not allowed to grab it. And so the ref, he went, hey, I didn't see a grab.
Face.
No, see, there's hands to the face, but also it's the same reason why like a running back can stiff arm you or the wide receiver can put they can put their hand in the face of the guy, and it's not necessarily a penalty. But like it so much comes down to if you actually close your fingers around that face mask, which it was kind of, did it happen, did it not? No matter what, that moment of the game was electric. Yeah. Like, I don't care what anybody says. But yeah, that's also why I don't get into the whole, like, Logan Wilson at the end of the game. Like, that was so clearly not an offensive holding. Like, it was insane. But at the same time, because I went, well, hey, like, both teams had a call that went their way. Like, so that's why I don't get into the whole ref thing, because it kind of evened out. Because if Logan Wilson isn't called on that, which was completely absurd as well, that was 4th and 8 on goal. You have one chance at that point to win the game. So that's why it's like, hey, throw both of those out, and it kind of, karma, the game was relatively even. So I don't really care.
And where there was a lot of great calls?
Donde?
Breakaway Super Bowl special.
No, we were clutch.
We were on it. I told people you take Bengals +4. Mm-hmm. I said it was going to be within 3 points. No doubt. I said it was going to be 27-24, but you figured it was going to come down to it. And before we give people a few of our other good calls we made in the Super Bowl special, my favorite part of the game was halftime, but not the performance. Shooter McPherson watching the entire halftime show on the Bengals sideline. Evan McPherson, that guy's turning into an absolute legend himself.
Oh, yeah.
Joey Burt, he's doing his thing. But Evan McPherson, what a fun guy.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know what the coaching staff had to think about him chilling out there, watching the halftime show. And I don't blame him. But that was incredible. But a few other things I know we called. I said, there's no way that the Gatorade's not going to be blue. Like if the Rams win, there's no way, like I said in the special, that yeah, guys, can we get the orange powder here for our blue team on the sideline?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no way.
Yeah.
You're going to have orange. It's a match made in Gatorade heaven.
Oh, yeah, orange versus blue. Yeah, it always felt like whatever team wins, that's the color.
Oh, yeah. So that was great. And then, man, you called that non-QB TD pass.
I knew that one was going to happen. I truly, in my head, I believed it was going to happen from the Rams, though. I thought they were going to do more tricky stuff. Yep. I thought, because look, they did try throwing a ball from Cooper Kupp to Matthew Stafford, which proved Matthew Stafford, not an athletic guy. I mean, he's a great quarterback, but not a skill position player. That was hilarious to watch. Or OBJ.
Great. I know Charlie ended up texting me that point. He just said Stafford special.
The Stafford special.
It's like it did not work out well at all.
Yeah. Did you know that was Joe Mixon's first ever pass attempt in the NFL? First ever touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's why at the end of the first half, I was sitting there going like, wow, if the Bengals win this game, Joe Mixon is in the driver's seat because Burrow had 0 touchdowns in the first half. It was crazy. I'm sitting there going like, Joe, and also aside from that, Joe Mixon, I mean, wow, what a game he had. He was big time for them. Unfortunately, they went to Samaje Perine late, which they should not have done, because I think he was the most consistent player from the Bengals offense was Joe Mixon. So that's a bummer. But he had a phenomenal performance. He's locked in there.
I thought he was going to find the end zone too. Joe Mixon. I had him as anytime touchdown scorer. Didn't find it, but man, what an exciting Super Bowl. And we called a lot of this stuff, and I'm so interested to see what the Bengals are going to do this offseason.
Oh, man,
like they have some. I know you were talking about this. they have a lots of cap space. And
Hmm.
obviously they're going to be looking to fix that O line, number one. That's all the analysis you guys are going to hear from any sports outlet. Boom. The Bengals were just a few offensive linemen away from winning a Super Bowl. But you could play that game all day long. Well, if this team had this or the other thing,
Yeah,
it's like no, you got what you got. You knew the Bengals knew it. Their fans should have known it, and every single football fan should have known going into this game the O line was going to be a liability. And is Joe Burrow going to be able to do enough, score enough to get this team to hoist the Lombardi Trophy? And it wasn't enough.
absolutely. And the good thing for the Bengals is that their young core offensively is locked in. You've got Joe Burrow, you've got Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. Those guys are going to be around for a while. Defensively, you do have a few key pieces. Logan Wilson, Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, they're also locked in. Now, where it gets a little dicier is, and these are the two areas where you're going to need to see the Cincinnati Bengals address in the draft and free agency. The offensive line, like we stated, and the defensive backs. Because their best defensive back is safety Jesse Bates. He's, team captain, had that first interception in the Super Bowl. He's a free agent. So of that 55 million ish that they have in cap space, I definitely think he's going to get a chunk of it. But a few free agents, I mean, we're talking star level guys that you're going to hear talked about for the Bengals. Definitely Brandon Scherf, just absolute rock star, superstar guard who's been playing with the Redskins football team, Commanders, whatever you want to call them. He was on the franchise tag, the Washington Commies. But yeah, no, he's a fantastic player. Was on the franchise tag. He's a free agent this year. He might get tagged again, but that'll be really expensive if the Commanders want to try and do that for a second year in a row. Don't think they will. So if they can't get a long-term extension worked out with him, he is like the top of the guy on the Bengals list. Secondly, then, Terron Armstead, who is the left tackle, has been the longtime left tackle for Drew Brees, but now the Saints are in salary cap hell. They're going to have to let guys walk. So Terron Armstead, that is the second guy.
In general. The Saints, yikes! I love to see it as a Falcons fan.
Oh,
I
bet
to see them in absolute turmoil. They don't know they didn't know what they were doing last year. It's not like the Falcons know what they're doing that much either. But they have no idea what's going on. They're missing their coach.
No.
Their GM left last year. Fontenot came to join the Falcons, and then now they're in just disarray. I mean, it's crazy to see what's happening with the Saints. They could be in the dumps for a little while. It's going to be weird if the Saints aren't like they're always competing. It seems like, but you had Drew Brees, you had Sean Payton. They're in a tough spot.
Look, and there's also you can kind of look into the future on the Rams on how they're going to be in a couple years, maybe not a couple, maybe 3 or 4 years from now, by looking at the Saints right now. Two different situations, but so the Rams, I Les Snead, the general manager of the Rams, give him all the credit in the world. Pushed his chips all into the table, and in fact, I think we're going to see a lot of general managers go the Les Snead route, where it's like, hey, if we think we have a Super Bowl window, let's trade draft picks for established players. But that creates problems because it's more expensive. It's a different way of team building. It's not how the NFL is set up. The Saints, on the other hand, what they were doing for years was they were, like I said, salary cap is all like Fugazi monopoly money. They were kicking the can down the road by restructuring, stretching out these contracts, all the crazy stuff we've seen with like Taysom Hill contracts where it's like, oh, he signed a $140 million contract. Well, no, he didn't. It's all just weird money. So, and now eventually it catches up to you and your team is screwed. That's down the road for the Rams. Like, everybody needs to understand that's going to happen. They do not have the cheap influx of young, good players by early round draft picks. So they're eventually going to get screwed. But hey, it was all worth it because you won a Super Bowl. But no,
because that's what it's all about.
Oh yeah,
they went all in, and also too, shout out to Robert Woods. I know he had
Bobby Trees.
Man, you could tell how much that receiving core missed him.
Mm-hmm.
But also he was an inspiration to a lot of those guys. So when he comes back, that's going to be huge for that offense as well. Like he is a great piece. He is a great addition to those wideouts. And also, I have to do a major shout out, big time. He was on the podcast. My old teammate Matt Orzek, long snapper for the Rams, is a Super Bowl champion. I was so dang excited for him. Like that was cool to see a good friend, someone that has been an absolute journeyman through the NFL. I saw that video on our Instagram page. If people aren't following us already, it's at TPUSA Breakaway. He just got that Lombardi Trophy, just raising that in the air, going nuts. Like I am so excited for him. I know my special teams coach was there. He was
Oh,
doing
it's
like
awesome.
confetti angels on the field. It was great. But man, a lot of crazy stuff is going to be happening with the Rams, but so exciting for like that is you couldn't write a better story. I
No,
think just
I'm with
just
you.
to have Matt Stafford, like what another fun guy to root for in LA. They win in LA. It's fantastic. And
What?
one thing I do
Mm-hmm.
have to say
Go ahead.
is obviously there is a lot of conversation right now of what's going to be happening in the LA area and California after this game. If you are a parent of a kid, there is no way in hell your kid should be masked up at school today. Don't do it. After you see all those celebrities, LA Mayor Garcetti looks like he was holding his breath for about 4 quarters. Incredible. I don't know how he does it. He's got to let us know. Your kid should not be masked up. I don't like bringing a ton of. I don't think this should even be political at all. Like, just your kids. This is not about science or data at all. If you're able to have about almost 80,000 people pack into the Super Bowl, pack into the SoFi Stadium, and nobody's adhering to rules, which I don't think they should at all. There's no way
Mm-hmm.
kids should be masked up in schools at all.
Yeah, no, LA definitely showed their just complete and utter hypocrisy. It's disgusting. Every single celebrity that was shown on the screen last night, uh, no mask, no mask whatsoever. LeBron James, Charlize Theron, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, a lot of really woke people. I think Ellen was even there. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, she
woke,
posted
woke of the
a
woke.
big selfie.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
of course, Ellen a selfie. Ooh, biggest surprise.
I
No, but
thought somebody tweeted. They're like, I didn't know Pete Carroll was going to be at the game.
I saw another person who they tweeted out, Ellen DeGeneres looks like Cooper Cup's mom and dad. And that had me rolling, dude. That was so good. No, but I mean, speaking of good stuff, there was some decent commercials. I know you were a little busy, so you didn't get to watch all the commercials because you had some
Yeah, because
Super Bowl party stuff going on. But it was
no,
actually it
that's
was a
why I was
decent
kind of
year.
like bummed out. I was like, I didn't get to watch like any of these commercials at all. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, I had a great time. It was really fun. They actually, Novice is the clothing company that works with Harrison Butker. They actually had me like announcing Super Bowl squares at the end of each quarter.
that's
Like,
great.
it wasn't even planned at all. They were just like, oh yeah, you talk all the time. You're an entertainer. Can you do this? So like I was doing that like during commercial breaks and quarter breaks and things like that. But dude, tell me which ones were good because I only
Ooh,
saw like a little like the Chevy Doctor EV
oh,
ill.
that was
I
terrible.
I know there was like the Amazon Alexa one that was Colin Jost and what
Scarlett
Scarlett
Johansson.
Johansson.
Just kind of like I still can't believe those two are married. I know the Amazon Alexa one. That one was really good. It was really funny, but at the same time, the creepy part about it was Amazon just like spitting in your face, going, "Yeah." It was them basically being very tongue in cheek about the fact of we know so much about you. It's almost like we can read your mind, and they completely played into it. And it was funny because it was true, but at the same time, it was like, wait, yeah, they basically do know me better than I know myself. They can essentially read my mind, and they made a big joke of it. And I was like, wow, they really don't care at this point.
Why do I
Crazy.
always feel like somebody's listening to me? That's what I feel like. That's the world we live in right now. I'm sure Jack Posobiec's like the Great Reset. Like I would love to see.
Amazon.
Like we need to get a live stream on Jack Posobiec during that Amazon Alexa commercial. It's like I told you, they're taking over. They're listening to everything.
Oh, Jack live tweeting it. No, but there was a few other good ones. Avocados from Mexico. They normally have a really, really good Super Bowl ad. Theirs was only meh, but it did include they made fun of the Bills Mafia jumping on tables, and that was great. So I was like, okay, if you get Bills Mafia table jumping in there, immediate W. I mean, absolute win. Um, Lay's Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen one was just funny. Like in general, you put Paul Rudd in anything and I'll watch it. I Love You Man is one of the greatest, bromance comedies of all time. So win. Bud Light's Guy Fieri, Flavortown one, our first real look into the world of Flavortown, which just needs to be its own, Netflix show at this point. Give me a full show, fictional show on Flavortown. I'll watch it. There was some decent ones this year. But like you said, probably the worst one was the Chevy Dr. Evil one. Dude, it was just about climate change and we're going to save the planet by making electric vehicles, which is just, if you know anything about the electric vehicle batteries, it's just insanely stupid. You can't recycle them. In fact, all car commercials were electric vehicle ones.
Were they the same that they had like this, so like old country music star that had like a really woke commercial? Was that with Chevy or was that with like Jeep or something?
I must have missed that one. I don't know.
That was like
I know Dolly Parton
like years
one
ago
was
or
in.
something.
Yeah, and there's a Sopranos Chevy commercial.
Man, I don't know which one I'm thinking of. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, Bryan. Celebrating the win.
Yeah, well, as we kind of
one thing though is the Clydesdales.
It was
isn't that
weak.
always one of the go-tos? So Budweiser, they didn't have a commercial last year.
That's right.
At all.
Mm-hmm.
So they come back for this. And my mom, she goes nuts for the Clydesdale horses. Like she's always,
a lot of people do.
Guys, she's like, I don't know who's playing. I don't know what's going on. I just want to see the Clydesdales. So like last year when they didn't have it, like my mom's one of those people that she's happy to watch the game with everybody, but there's like bits and pieces that she gets fired up for. And she's one of those people that loves like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade too. So when that didn't happen a couple of years ago, she was distraught. And then last year when they didn't have the Clydesdales, so they came back this year, and it just seemed like, from what you were saying, I know we were talking before the show, it didn't really live up to the hype. I watched a little bit of it before we jumped on here.
Yeah, no, it was kind of weak as far as like the Clydesdale ones are normally like, one of those staples of the Super Bowl, and it just didn't live up to previous years. So I'm hoping they can no pun intended, but get back on the horse.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Yeehaw.
But no, obviously, we've had a lot of fun talking about the Super Bowl, but we do want to remember that Super Bowl isn't the only thing that was happening in this past week. We want to touch on a couple things before we let you all go. First off, it's, sticking in the NFL, probably just going to touch on it here, but the Kyler Murray drama has continued to reach just absurd levels where now they're coming out and saying that apparently there's an odd vibe between Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals in general. Somebody, Chris Mortensen, who, a reporter, said Murray is described as self-centered, immature, and finger-pointing per sources. Murray is frustrated with franchise and was embarrassed by playoff loss to the Rams and thinks he's been framed as the scapegoat. I don't think this is as big of a deal as the media is putting it out to be. Murray is under contract. He's going to want that massive extension. The Cardinals are definitely going to give it to him. I don't understand all the hoopla that's being built up around this. It seems like, and it's just weird to me because it's not like this is like the dog days of summer where that kind of stuff happens then. This was Super Bowl week. I am blown away by how much talk happened on Super Bowl week about Kyler Murray. It's just weird. I don't know.
It seems like just a dramatic high school relationship.
Yes.
Where it's like, well, he deleted the photos of us and got rid of me, so I think I'm gonna do the same with him. But like, it's silly, but I love it. I feel like in general in my life, I'm not just like a drama guy. I don't want drama in my relationships or my life, but man, I'm living for this right now. And it must be so weird for you and the rest of the Cardinals fans watching this unravel because they can't get rid of Kyler Murray. I know a lot of people are just like, no, it's probably time to like get rid of him. You could get like some draft picks and maybe a few people back. And it's like, dude, well, who are you gonna draft? Who are you gonna pick up? Who's gonna be your quarterback? Like this quarterback class is not very good.
Terrible.
And then yeah, what other quarterbacks do you have available right now? Like what, you're gonna try to get like an Aaron Rodgers or something like that?
And
Some
you have
guy that
Rodgers for what? Maybe 2 years at most.
yeah,
It just
2 years,
doesn't.
and then
It doesn't make sense.
also it's like what's gonna attract Aaron Rodgers to go to Arizona more than like San Francisco, more
Oh
than
yeah, exactly.
Denver. No, it's like no, it's probably not even in his top five
Yeah, there are other teams
right
that are
now.
built better
No,
to bring in a new quarterback. But the Super Bowl
no, but
is in
it's I
Arizona
love
next year,
watching it.
so if we're going to keep on this trend of the hometown team winning. But obviously, there is more outside of just football. So this was NBA trade deadline week, and boy, it was a doozy. I mean, this was the most exciting trade deadline that we've seen in recent years for the NBA. Of course, starting out with the biggest one, the blockbuster, James Harden was traded to the 76ers for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and a couple other small pieces, a couple, not small, first round picks. But I don't know, John, this shakes
Sixers
up.
got fleeced.
You think they got fleeced?
Sixer, I think they got fleeced. Seth Curry, a lot of people aren't talking about that. That was such a great addition to that team. You talk about someone that can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about someone that is maybe your sixth, seventh guy on the bench at times, and you get Ben Simmons, who is going to be put in a position to succeed.
Yep.
That's what you need with someone like Ben Simmons. He became too much of a superstar there. He does not need to be ball dominant. He does not need to score you all these points and put the team on his back. That's not Ben Simmons. But I think there's a lot of people that have not watched Ben Simmons for a while, and they're forgetting how good that guy really is.
Oh yeah.
Like, is he in the upper echelon, like top five? No, but he's always one of those guys that's in the conversation of being an all star, being on those all NBA teams and everything. So he's going to be good. And then you have KD that is with Kyrie,
Mm-hmm.
and then now it's just like Ben Simmons, just contribute to what those guys are doing. You got Seth Curry on the team now, 2 first round picks as well in this deal. Like Daryl Morey, bro, you were spot on when you talked about free Hong Kong. You are not spot on when it came to this trade, and I don't understand why everybody holds James Harden to this unbelievable level. I just don't think Harden's gonna be the guy in Philly. I mean, Joel Embiid, that would be a nice little addition to him and everything.
I
But
mean,
in
the
the
Embiid
long,
Harden pick and roll is going to be gnarly.
it's gonna be nice. But also too, like James Harden's the kind of guy. It's like he shows up to training camp out of shape. He literally looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy after the offseason. The guy still gets the job done, but he doesn't like the way the NBA is going. But he can't draw fouls as much anymore.
No.
And he got cooked by Kyrie Irving in practice. Did you see some of those reports
Oh yeah.
that came out? Like he was just getting hosted by Kyrie Irving. That was barely in basketball shape, and I think that relationship just kind of like went downhill. I also can't imagine that. Like we love Kyrie Irving's stance here at Breakaway, Turning Point USA, and anybody that just loves freedom. But in general, like it doesn't seem like Kyrie Irving is a super easy guy to get along with.
No, it seems kind of like a
Potentially
nutcase.
eccentric
Yeah.
personality that just balls. And there's obviously you're going to hear the talking heads like Stephen A. Smith. They're just like, well, if is Kyrie still going to be selfish? If he continues to be selfish, I don't know if this team's going to win a championship. And it's like, I just hope that New York changes their tune, like allow players to be unvaccinated and play at home. Like, there's no reason why
Mm-hmm.
you should have like a mandate. It's like what DC, I'm pretty sure had a mandate. Like they were forcing some of their players, like Bradley Beal. I know he came out and
Yeah.
said something like early in the season, then he ended up getting it. It seemed like he was forced into it. Kyrie Irving can play at DC, but he can't play at home. I'm hoping that New York just kind of changes their tone because I don't want to watch a NBA playoffs and say All right. Well, they could have done more if Kyrie was able to play at home. But also too, they're probably gonna if it stays like this, they're gonna try to get a lower seed or a higher seed, excuse me, so they can potentially play on the road more.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
I mean, today, John, who do you have as your best team in the East?
Well, I think it's a toss up between the Nets and the Bucks. I mean,
Okay.
obviously you got teams like the Heat are up there, the Bulls. You can't count those guys out at all. But I just think as of right now, I got to give the edge to the Bucks, just because of experience. Giannis is still the man. They got some great pieces over there. That like look at how close that Eastern Conference is. I think like the top five teams are all within like 2 or 3 games.
It's real
So
close.
yeah, it's not like any team is really taken off, but I think I gotta give the edge to the Bucks a little bit. But watch out in a few weeks, the Nets they're gonna start coming together a little bit. They look really really nice,
Y-
and also to Steve Nash, did he lie to us? I feel like he lied to us. He said James Harden isn't gonna get traded, but
Yeah.
also he's not the decision maker. But I thought that was kind of
No.
funny.
That was all smoke and mirrors, trying to just make sure that they kept out of the headlines enough of not wanting to give their hand away too much. I mean, but there was also a couple other trades that happened. Not that we need to dive in too deep to them because they're not as impactful as the Simmons Harden. But Sabonis was sent to Sacramento in kind of a surprising move for Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield. It's only surprising because you would have thought Halliburton would have been like borderline untouchable, but Sacramento does have
Sacramento's a
three good
crap
guards.
show.
Yeah, well, the funny
Sacramento's
they've won both the
it
games
sucks.
since Sabonis showed up. I think he'll fit in nicely there, but I mean, send the team to Seattle already. It's just time. I mean, they'll bring back the Supersonics, and I think immediately their fortunes would turn around. Probably get a new owner too, but yeah, that's what you got to do. You know them better than I, and
Jeez.
producer Dominic knows them even better.
Sacramento's a dumpster fire. I mean, when you had someone like Vlade Divac, he was just making some of the stupidest moves ever. Like, just stick to flopping and taking chargers. Don't try to run a franchise and make moves. And it's insane. Like, they got rid of Marvin Bagley, the guy they chose over Luka Doncic.
Well, you had to at this point. He was done there. Do you remember
And
a
I
few
mean,
weeks ago when he refused to come back
well,
into
they
the game?
had to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like done, like was done there, like had to move on.
Look, ever since like those Rick Adelman teams were
Mm-hmm.
so fun. Like people need
Yeah.
to go back and watch some of those, like the Lakers Kings rivalry, early 2000s. That was some of the best in the NBA. Like that was obviously the Lakers always got the best of them, but like man, that was a good time. Then Rick Adelman, he was a great coach. I know the team loved him. Sacramento was buzzing. Arco Arena was popping off. A place that I actually got to play the section championship game when I was in high school. And but ever since, man, it's like Buddy Hield. You knew he wasn't going to be your guy. He had like a nice little run, and then DeMarcus
Yeah.
Cousins was on the squad. He was good. DeMarcus Cousins too. I got to see him play a few times there in Sacramento. That guy probably put up the
He was a
quietest 50
monster back
piece
then.
I've ever seen in my life. But just they haven't known what they were doing the whole time. They brought in Luke Walton to coach the team. I think Luke Walton he was good in the interim for
Yeah.
Steve Kerr, but in general, it's like Luke Walton, my least favorite NBA player of all time. Like, I
Boring.
wanted to absolutely
Snooze fest.
gouge my eyes out every time I watched him play in the NBA. But it's a long road for Sacramento, and especially too when this Halliburton situation happens, you you think someone's going to want to stick around in Sacramento and think that Sacramento's got some sort of loyalty to you, that they care about you, that they want to build around you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break. Give me a break. It's not enticing, and I feel bad for producer Dom and all Sacramento Kings fans. A lot of people I grew up with. For people that don't know, it's like I grew up in Sacramento the majority of my life. I was born in the Bay, so that's why I'm a Warriors fan. But man, that's an absolute crap show. Great arena though. Golden One Arena is definitely definitely in my top five
Yeah.
in the NBA. It's a great spot to watch a game,
John,
but the team sucks.
we're headed into the break here, and so we're going to be able to get a chance to probably in one of the future weeks here do a good breakdown now that the NFL is going to be wrapping up, and as we kind of move more into a a bigger focus on college basketball and the NBA, we're really going to have a lot of time to talk about basketball. But I mean, right now, give me your hot take. Give me your finals prediction. Who do you think it's going to be from the West? Who do you think it's going to be from the East?
Well, from the West, I'm going Warriors. It's going to be, I mean, it's either going to be the Warriors or the Suns. I
Yeah, it
mean,
kind of doesn't feel like anybody else has a chance.
and then also too, I feel like the Suns, I hope they don't get too caught up in that one seed situation. Like obviously, like you're always buzzing, and you know, D Book just looks like an absolute beast out there, and they have so many fun pieces. Like someone like Cam Johnson, someone that came from UNC that was developing quite a bit, and then he was put on the right team. It's definitely you got Bridges on that squad as well. DeAndre Ayton is becoming a little bit tougher. So Western Conference Final is going to be Suns and Warriors. I think Warriors right now they're coasting a little bit. I think they just want to stay healthy, and then once they get James Wiseman back, here we go. Jonathan Kuminga.
They know it's about playoffs.
Oh man, they know it's all about playoffs, and I think especially after that 73-win season, they're saying, you know what, just let's win some games, but let's not try to do anything crazy. Let's keep everybody as healthy as humanly possible. So I still got the Warriors coming out of the West. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad bet to say the Suns, and then the East. I think it's going to come down to the Bucks and the Nets. I mean, they're going to be seeing each other again in the playoffs. I think the Nets are just a better team now. I think when you got Steve Nash at the helm again, I think he's going to feel more comfortable. We'll see what happens with the Kyrie Irving situation. So right now, I got Nets, Warriors, NBA Finals. And at that point, I really hope that New York has changed the rules so we can see Kyrie Irving throughout the rest of that finals. But man, that's exciting. Kyrie Irving, somebody that beat the Warriors in the finals, definitely ripped my heart out. KD is playing the team that he left. This is his next chapter. What is he going to do with the old team?
His next
Hopefully the
chapter.
Warriors oh yeah, like this would be a very, very fun time. But I mean, still Suns Nets would be exciting, or Suns Bucks. We'll see. But I'm going Nets Warriors.
Yeah, you say you hope New York's changed their rules right now, but you being a Warriors fan, if it ended up Warriors Nets, I know you'd be like, oh well, Kyrie not playing at home's not that big of a deal anymore. But
I just hate that when everybody's just like, oh, if this guy hadn't have been hurt or this would have happened. I hate the what if game.
Yeah,
so
it's terrible.
There's way too many people that that's all that would be talked about online. If Kyrie wasn't able to play throughout that whole series, like, well, what if he was able to play? Like, would the Warriors actually beat them? It's like, I don't want any of that. I want to play them straight up, and I want the best team to play at full strength, and let's roll.
Heard that, dude. Well, I'll be brief on mine. Obviously I'm going to roll with the Suns. I think they're the best team in basketball, and at the deadline they made a couple small moves to get Torrey Craig back, bring in Aaron Holiday from the Wizards. Small moves that just help keep them moving in the right direction. And I'm higher on the Sixers starting five than I think you are. Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. I think that is a baller starting five. Losing Seth Curry hurts for sure. Completely with you on that one. But that's my prediction right now. I think it's looking like Suns and Sixers, which would be a lot of fun to watch. They're built completely differently. Ayton versus Embiid would be a lot of fun. Booker versus James Harden, who's the best shooting guard in the league. Makes for a lot of good storylines too. Definitely could see either of those teams making it out. But
yeah, and then the thing that's going to be fun too is like you're saying, we're going to talk about a lot of NBA on this show. And there's, especially I think being associated with Turning Point USA and stuff, like the NBA is the wokest league. So there's definitely going to be plenty of conversations there. But in general, there's too much good basketball not to talk about how these teams are built, how they're going after the playoffs. And it's going to be a fun time. Like, this is a fun time in the NBA. And I think we're going to be able to separate ourselves from the politics a little bit, and then also too, college basketball is going to be a blast.
March Madness right around the corner.
My early pick to win the national championship was Purdue. I think Purdue looks nice, but in general, it's like you got teams like Kentucky, you got UCLA that's out there, UCLA and USC. They had a nice little matchup the other night. It's an exciting time. Obviously, Gonzaga is always going to do their thing, even though they're not letting John Stockton go to games anymore.
Auburn and Duke are both pretty good.
but
yeah.
it's an exciting time. And one more thing I definitely do want to touch on with the Super Bowl is obviously you probably have some people tuning in right now, whether you're watching or listening. You want to hear what we have to say about Eminem. The halftime show. The halftime show was legit. Like, there's a reason Evan
really
McPherson was out there. There's like, I know Alex Clark had a great take for that. She was like, "This was for us '90s babies." I was digging it. Like that. You just heard the next episode, California Love, Snoop D-O-double-G. Obviously, Snoop's got a lot. Like, these guys have some crap they've got it into it with the law and everything like that. They got some rap sheets, but they're also great rappers. It's like this. I think we can appreciate the art a little bit. And man, that whole set was cool. It felt like
cool.
Man, it was like a adult, like, what was it? Just like Playhouse almost situation where they had like, doesn't matter like what side you're on of the field, you could see them walking down. You got, dude, what, 50 Cent doing his best Spider-Man impression right away.
Coming in upside down.
He's upside down.
Shout out to the music video.
Oh man, like that was exciting. But the thing was, Eminem, he took a knee. Like, we were able to watch a pretty non-woke NFL playoffs.
Yeah,
for the most part. For the most part, I think that's what people really enjoyed, and that's why that's someone like Charlie, that he is one of those guys. Like, if there's some wokeness in companies or sports or something like that, he's like, will not support it, not doing it. Like, there's a reason Charlie started getting into the NFL a little bit more as well. But man, Eminem just ruined it. Absolutely ruined it. The NFL came out and said that they had no idea that he was going to do it. I think they were trying to tell him, like, don't.
Yeah, I guess they were saying don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it, and then maybe that just like empowered him more. But like,
yeah, because they should have just said nothing. Like, if he wants to do it and make a fool out of himself, let him make a fool out of himself. Because now there's the whole storyline of they told him not to do it. But no, it's a joke. It's a classic woke white person. Snoop wasn't taking a knee. Dr. Dre wasn't taking a knee. Kendrick Lamar didn't take a knee. I mean, come on. Like, I mean, why do you need to be the person to take a knee if the black people themselves are like, we just want to have a dope halftime show? That's all we care about. So, I mean, Eminem, absolute clown. Plus, I mean, I don't know if the sound was off or something, but it clearly looked like he was lip syncing for that one too. So, double clown.
Will the real Slim Shady please stand up and not take a knee? Please.
That's so good.
Please.
Love that.
See, these are things that would have been great tweets yesterday, but
you were having too good of a time.
But I was having too good of a time, and it's one of those where, like, dude, stop listening to the stupid narrative about Colin Kaepernick. There's people like that Eminem, they want you to think that Colin Kaepernick got blackballed from the NFL. It's like, no. Once again, he had a good little run. He had a chance to come back in the NFL. He had some workouts and tryouts that he ended up changing the location, and he shot himself in the foot in a lot of ways. And the NFL, and it seemed like other teams, wanted to give him another shot despite all the circumstances, but it was completely on him. The guy makes millions of dollars, race baiting, dividing us. And someone like Eminem, it goes to show that the NFL does not know how to control their celebrities they're associated with, and they don't know how to control their players. They have bowed down and taken a knee, pun intended, to a lot of these social issues, and it shot him in the foot. Luckily, the NFL, I think, came out and said, we didn't want him to do it. He did it, puts all this on Eminem, but it also goes to show the NFL doesn't have that much power to force people to eliminate themselves from a political discussion. And it took away from the halftime show a little bit, but that was one of the best ever.
Yeah, I thought it was a good show.
That was legit. That was a lot of fun. But I know we probably got to start rolling too. You probably got the producers in the back telling it.
They're yelling in my ear. Nah, I'm kidding. No, but this has been a great show. I mean, speaking of, absolutely so fun. Glad that you could tune in all the way from New York. because we obviously want to be here every Monday morning for the people. Once again, just huge thank you to everybody who tunes in. Breakaway is really starting to gain a lot of traction. We've had a lot of stuff that's popped off in the last few weeks, and obviously couldn't do it without all of you who are watching, liking, subscribing, downloading. Invite your friends to listen to the stuff. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And leave a review on the podcast on both Apple Podcast and Spotify. Means the world to us because we want to keep going on and talking about all this stuff. We couldn't be more thrilled to be a part of your guys' sports lives. But also, like I said earlier, Breakaway isn't ending with the NFL. We are going to continue into basketball. This is an every Monday thing. Of course, Jon also has his Sunday specials that, awesome interviews that come out every single Sunday. Breakaway is here to stay, and we are absolutely going to be changing the game with you guys. Jon, thank you for coming in. Producers, thank you for putting on a great show. Everybody will catch you soon.